There is something particles can do that should be impossible. Not difficult, not improbable. Impossible. Forbidden by classical physics. Violated by quantum mechanics. Particles can pass through barriers, through walls, through obstacles, through regions they do not have energy to enter, cannot classically penetrate, cannot physically traverse. Yet they do, constantly, everywhere, in your body, in the sun, in radioactive atoms, in enzymes, in DNA, in every living cell. Particles tunnel through barriers, appear on other side, without going over, without going around, without having energy required, just appearing, beyond barrier, on far side. This is quantum tunneling, and it violates everything classical physics teaches. Classical mechanics says, particle has definite energy, barrier has potential energy. If particle energy is less than barrier energy, particle cannot cross, must reflect, must bounce back, cannot penetrate, cannot pass through. This is absolute. This is law. This is how macroscopic world works. Balls do not pass through walls. Cars do not tunnel through mountains. You do not walk through doors. Barriers are impenetrable. If you lack energy to overcome, this is classical physics. This is Newton's mechanics. This is common sense. But quantum mechanics says, no. Particles can tunnel, can penetrate barriers, can appear beyond obstacles, even when lacking energy, even when classically forbidden, even when impossible. How? Wave function. Quantum mechanics describes particles as waves. Wave function extends everywhere, not just where particle is, but into classically forbidden regions, into barriers, into walls, into obstacles. Wave function decays exponentially in barrier, gets smaller, gets weaker, but does not become zero. Small probability remains. On far side, beyond barrier, particle can be found there, can appear there, can tunnel there, without having energy, without classical permission, without physical mechanism, just quantum probability, just wave function, just tunneling. And this is not rare, not occasional, not exotic laboratory phenomenon. This is constant. This is universal. This is how reality works. At quantum level, at molecular level, at atomic level, tunneling happens, continuously, everywhere. And you are alive because of this, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally, physically, actually. Your life depends on quantum tunneling. Sun shines because protons tunnel, fusing hydrogen into helium, releasing energy, powering photosynthesis, enabling food, enabling oxygen, enabling climate, enabling life. Your cells function because electrons tunnel, in mitochondria, in respiration, creating ATP, energy currency, powering metabolism, powering motion, powering thought, powering life. Your DNA mutates because protons tunnel between base pairs, creating variations, enabling evolution, enabling adaptation, enabling diversity, enabling existence. Without tunneling, no fusion. Without fusion, no sun. Without sun, no photosynthesis. Without photosynthesis, no oxygen, no food, no warmth. Without tunneling in cells, no respiration, no ATP, no energy, no metabolism, no life. Without tunneling in DNA, no mutations, no evolution, no adaptation, no complex life, no humans, no you. Quantum tunneling is not abstract, not theoretical, not optional, is necessary, is fundamental, is reason you exist, reason you breathe, reason you think. Particles can pass through walls, through impossible barriers, through classically forbidden regions, and this makes life possible. This makes reality quantum. This makes everything strange and wonderful and impossible and actual. Begin with classical barrier, simple barrier, potential energy hill, particle, approaching from left, moving with kinetic energy, encounters barrier, barrier has height, potential energy. If particle's kinetic energy is greater than barrier height, particle can cross, can climb hill, can overcome potential, reaches other side, continues moving. Classical physics allows this, predicts this. This is normal, expected. But if particle's kinetic energy is less than barrier height, particle cannot cross, cannot climb hill, cannot overcome potential, must reflect. Bounce back, return to left side. Classical physics forbids crossing, forbids penetration, forbids tunneling. This is absolute law, conservation of energy. Particle cannot be where potential energy exceeds total energy, cannot exist in classically forbidden region. This is how macroscopic objects behave. Roll ball toward hill. If ball has enough speed, enough energy, climbs hill, rolls down other side. If ball lacks speed, lacks energy, rolls part way up, stops, rolls back. Never appears on other side without climbing. Never tunnels through hill. Never violates energy conservation. This is classical mechanics. This is Newton's world. This is everyday experience. But quantum mechanics is different, fundamentally different. Not just refinement of classical, not just correction for small scales, but different physics, different rules, different reality. Quantum particle approaching same barrier. Particle described by wave function. Wave function extends in space, not localized to point, but spread out, distributed, probability amplitude. At barrier, wave function does not suddenly stop, does not become zero, does not vanish. Wave function penetrates barrier, extends into classically forbidden region, decays exponentially, gets smaller, gets weaker, but remains non-zero. And on far side of barrier, if barrier is finite, if barrier has other side, wave function emerges. Small amplitude, small probability, but non-zero. Particle can be found there, can be measured there, can appear there. This is tunneling. This is quantum penetration. This is barrier transmission. The mathematics are precise. Wave function in barrier region. Psi, x equals a, x, capax, where kappa equals square root 2 v, square. Here v is barrier height. E is particle energy. If E is less than V, then VE is positive. Square root is real. Exponential is decaying. Wave function decreases as X increases. As particle penetrates deeper into barrier, this is exponential decay. Rate determined by kappa. Larger kappa means faster decay. Larger VE means faster decay. Higher barrier, faster decay. Lower particle energy, faster decay. Heavier particle, larger me, faster decay. But decay is not instant, not immediate, not zero at first entry. Wave function penetrates some distance before becoming negligible. Penetration depth roughly 1, kappa. For barriers of reasonable height and reasonable particle mass and reasonable energy deficit, penetration depth is nanometers. Angstroms, atomic distances, small but finite, non-zero, enough to tunnel through thin barriers, through molecular barriers, through atomic barriers. And if barrier is thin enough, if barrier width is comparable to penetration depth, wave function emerges on other side, transmits through barrier, particle can appear beyond. This is quantum tunneling. Probability of tunneling. T is approximately equal to xp, 2 kappa L, where L is barrier width. This is transmission coefficient. Probability that particle incident on barrier emerges on other side. Exponential dependence on barrier width. Double the width, square the probability. Exponentially sensitive. Very thin barriers, high probability. Thick barriers, vanishing probability. Typical atomic barrier, few angstroms wide. Tunneling probability might be 10, -2. 1 in 100 particles tunnel. Molecular barrier, few nanometers wide. Tunneling probability might be 10, negative 10. 1 in 10 billion particles tunnel. This sounds small, sounds rare. But quantum systems have many particles, many attempts, trillions of particles, trillions of attempts per second. Even small probabilities become significant, become measurable, become important. 1 in 10 billion per attempt, but trillion attempts per second means 100 tunneling events per second. Measurable, observable, significant. This is quantum tunneling. This is barrier penetration. This is how quantum particles behave. George Gamow discovered this in 1928, explaining alpha decay. Radioactive nuclei emit alpha particles. Helium nuclei, 2 protons, 2 neutrons, bound inside nucleus. Trapped by nuclear force, strong force holds nucleus together. But electromagnetic force pushes alpha particle out. Positively charged alpha particle repelled by positively charged remaining nucleus creates potential barrier. Coulomb barrier. If alpha particle inside has enough energy, can overcome barrier, can escape, can be emitted. But measurements showed alpha particles emitted with less energy than barrier height, less than required to escape classically, should be trapped, should remain inside nucleus, should never escape, yet do escape, do emit, do decay, radioactively, regularly, predictably. How? Gamow said. Quantum tunneling. Alpha particle does not have energy to overcome barrier, but tunnels through barrier. Wave function penetrates barrier, extends beyond. Alpha particle can appear outside, can escape, can be emitted. Tunneling probability depends exponentially on barrier width and height. Explains alpha decay rates, explains half-lives. Explains why different isotopes decay at vastly different rates. Small changes in barrier parameters cause exponential changes in decay rate. Uranium, 2, 3, 8. Half-life, 4.5 billion years. Polonium, 2, 1, 2. Half-life, 0.3 microseconds. Both alpha emitters, both tunneling, different barrier parameters, different tunneling probabilities, different decay rates. Gamow's calculation explained this. Explained alpha decay, explained radioactivity, through quantum tunneling. This was breakthrough. This was confirmation. This was proof that tunneling is real, is physical, is explanation for observed phenomena, not just mathematical artifact, not just theoretical curiosity, but actual physical process, happening in nature, causing radioactive decay, making uranium radioactive, making atoms unstable, making nuclear transmutation possible. This has implications, profound implications, disturbing implications. Barriers are not absolute, not impenetrable, not perfect walls. Any barrier, any wall, any obstacle can be tunneled with some probability, usually very small, but non-zero. You could tunnel through wall. Wave function extends through wall, exponentially decaying. By time reaches other side, amplitude is to 10, negative 10, 30, vanishingly small. Probability is effectively zero. Will never happen, not in lifetime of universe. Not in Googleplex lifetimes, but mathematically non-zero, physically possible, quantum mechanically allowed, just extraordinarily improbable. Why? Because you are large, macroscopic. Many particles, to 10, 28 atoms. All must tunnel simultaneously, coherently, together. Probability multiplies, becomes infinitesimal, becomes impossible practically. But single electron, single proton, single atom can tunnel, does tunnel, regularly, constantly, through barriers comparable to penetration depth, through atomic scale walls, through molecular obstacles, through nanometer barriers. This is common, this is normal, this is how quantum particles behave. And this enables everything. Enables chemistry, enables biology, enables technology, enables life. Consider scanning tunneling microscope, STM, invented 1981 by Binnig and Rohrer. Nobel Prize 1986. Revolutionary instrument, can image individual atoms, can see atomic structure, can map surfaces, atom by atom. How? Quantum tunneling, sharp metal tip. Single atom at apex, brought very close to surface, nanometers away, gap between tip and surface, vacuum gap. Classical physics, no current flows. Electrons in tip cannot cross gap, cannot reach surface, cannot flow, no circuit, no current. But quantum mechanics, electrons tunnel from tip to surface or from surface to tip. Wave function extends across gap. Probability of tunneling depends exponentially on gap width. Bring tip closer, exponential increase in current. Move, tip away, exponential decrease in current. Scan tip across surface. Maintaining constant current, tip moves up and down, following surface topography, atom by atom, angstrom by angstrom, creates image, three-dimensional map, atomic resolution. See individual atoms, see atomic arrangements, see surface structures, see molecules, see defects, see everything, all because electrons tunnel across nanometer gap. Through classically forbidden region, quantum tunneling enables atomic imaging, enables nanotechnology, enables materials science, enables surface chemistry, all from tunneling. Or consider flash memory, USB drives, solid-state drives, memory cards, billions of devices, trillions of bits stored. How? Quantum tunneling. Flash memory cell contains floating gate. Conductor, surrounded by insulator. Completely isolated. Classically, cannot add electrons, cannot remove electrons, trapped permanently. But quantum mechanically, can tunnel, apply voltage, create electric field, increase electron energy. Electrons tunnel through insulator. From channel to floating gate, get trapped, remain trapped, storing bit. To erase, apply opposite voltage. Electrons tunnel back through insulator, from floating gate to channel, bit erased. Write and erase, store and delete, millions of times, billions of cells, all through quantum tunneling. Through insulator that should be impenetrable, through barrier that should forbid electrons. But electrons tunnel regularly, reliably, controllably, enabling digital storage, enabling flash memory, enabling modern electronics, all from quantum tunneling, from particles passing through walls, from impossible made routine. Or consider Josephson junction, two superconductors separated by thin insulator, few nanometers. Classically, no current. Insulator blocks current, prevents flow, isolates conductors. But quantum mechanically, Cooper pairs tunnel, electron pairs in superconductor, bound together. Quantum mechanical bound state, can tunnel as pair, through insulator, through barrier, from one superconductor to other, creates current, Josephson current, with no voltage, with no resistance. Zero voltage, non-zero current. Quantum tunneling current depends on phase difference between superconductors. Quantum phase, superconducting wave function, Josephson-derived equations, predicted effects, before experimental confirmation. Nobel Prize 1973. Josephson junctions now used everywhere. In squids, superconducting quantum interference devices, most sensitive magnetometers, can detect single magnetic flux quantum, used in medicine, in geology, in physics research, in quantum computing, all based on tunneling, on Cooper pairs tunneling through insulators, through barriers, through impossible regions. Quantum tunneling enabling superconducting electronics, enabling quantum devices, enabling precision measurement. These are applications, these are technologies, These are human inventions exploiting tunneling, but tunneling exists naturally, fundamentally, in nature, without human intervention, without technology, without design, just quantum mechanics, operating everywhere, constantly, and most importantly, in sun, in stars, in nuclear fusion, enabling stellar energy, enabling sunlight, enabling life. This is next. This is critical. This is why you are alive. Because protons tunnel, because nuclei fuse, because sun shines. Not just shines, but should not shine, cannot shine, classically impossible, thermodynamically forbidden, yet shines anyway, because quantum tunneling, because wave function penetration, because particles do impossible. This is where tunneling becomes life-enabling, becomes existence-enabling, becomes reason universe, is not cold and dark and dead, but warm and bright and alive. Because tunneling, because quantum mechanics, because impossible is actual. But first understand why fusion is impossible classically, why sun should not shine, why stars should not exist. Nuclear fusion, combining light nuclei into heavier nuclei, releases energy. Because binding energy per nucleon increases from hydrogen to iron, fusion releases energy. Most fusion, hydrogen fusion, proton-proton fusion, two protons combine, form deuterium, plus positron, plus neutrino. This is first step. PP chain, powers sun, powers main sequence stars, but protons are positively charged, both positive. Electromagnetic force repels, Coulomb force. Positive charges push apart, strongly. Force increases as separation decreases. F equals K, Q, 1 Q, 2, divided by R squared. At nuclear distances, R to 1 femtometer, force is enormous, creates potential barrier, Coulomb barrier, potential energy, V equals K squared divided by R. At R equals 1.fm, V to 1.44 MeV. This is barrier height. Energy required to bring protons close enough to fuse. Close enough for strong nuclear force to act. Strong force attractive. But short range. Only acts at femtometer distances. To reach that distance must overcome Coulomb barrier. Must have energy is greater than or equal to 1.44 MeV. Must overcome repulsion. This is classical requirement. This is energetic necessity. Now consider sun's core. Temperature to 15 million Kelvin. Thermal energy. E equals 3/2 kT. At 15 million K, E to 1.5 kV. This is thermal kinetic energy. Energy protons have from temperature, from random motion, from thermal collisions. Compare. Barrier is 1.44 MeV. Thermal energy is 1.5 keV. Ratio 1000. 440 keV. 1.5 keV to 1000. Barrier is 1,000 times higher than thermal energy. Protons do not have enough energy. Cannot overcome barrier. Cannot reach nuclear distances. Cannot fuse. Classically impossible. Even accounting for high-energy tail of Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, even accounting for rare, fast-moving protons, probability of having is greater than or equal to 1.44 MeV. At 15 million K, KT, E, negative 1000 to 10, negative 434, vanishingly small, impossibly small, never happens, no fusion, no energy, no sunshine. Sun should be cold, dark, dead. Just gravitationally contracting ball of hydrogen, heating slightly from contraction. Kelvin-Helmholtz timescale. To 20 million years. Then cold, forever. No fusion, no sustained energy, no long-lived sun. Earth would be frozen, lifeless, dark, dead. Universe would be dark, cold, just hydrogen and helium. No heavier elements, no carbon, no oxygen, no life. This is classical prediction. This is what Coulomb barrier means. This is why fusion should be impossible, should not occur, should not power sun. Yet sun shines, has shone for 4.6 billion years, will shine for 5 billion more. Fusion occurs. Energy releases. Sun lives. Why? How? What allows fusion? Answer: quantum tunneling. Protons do not overcome barrier, do not classically cross, tunnel through barrier. Wave function penetrates Coulomb barrier, extends to nuclear distances. Protons can appear there, can come close, can feel strong nuclear force, can fuse, can release energy. Without having energy to overcome barrier, without classically crossing, just tunneling, quantum mechanically, probabilistically. This is how fusion works. This is how sun shines. This is how stars live. Through quantum tunneling, through impossible made actual, through particles doing what they cannot do. Atkinson and Houtemans calculated this in 1929. Shortly after Gamow's alpha decay work, applied tunneling to stellar fusion, showed that protons can tunnel through Coulomb barrier, calculated tunneling probability, showed that even though thermal energies are too low, tunneling probability at lower energies is high enough. Not high, absolutely, but high enough, given enormous number of protons, given enormous number of collisions per second. Tunneling events occur regularly, constantly, sufficiently to power stars, to enable fusion, to make sunshine. Hans Bethe refined calculations in 1939. Nobel Prize 1967. Detailed pp chain, detailed CNO cycle. Showed exactly how hydrogen fuses to helium, through multiple steps, through multiple tunneling events, through quantum barrier penetration. At each step, pp chain, proton plus proton, deuterium plus positron plus neutrino, requires tunneling. Then deuterium plus proton helium, 3 plus gamma, requires tunneling. Then helium, 3 plus helium, 3 helium, 4 plus 2 protons, requires tunneling. Multiple tunneling events, each improbable, but collectively sufficient to power sun, to generate 4 times 10, 26 watts, to shine for billions of years, all from quantum tunneling, all from particles passing through Coulomb barriers, through impossible regions, through classically forbidden zones. This is proven. This is confirmed. This is understood. Stellar nucleosynthesis, Big Bang nucleosynthesis, fusion in labs, fusion in bombs, all require tunneling, all depend on quantum mechanics, all demonstrate particles doing impossible, making reality quantum, making universe alive. And you depend on this, directly, immediately. Every photon from sun required tunneling, required proton tunneling through Coulomb barrier, required fusion releasing energy, releasing gamma rays. Gamma rays scatter, thermalize, eventually emerge as visible light, as sunlight, as photons reaching Earth. 8 minutes after emission, these photons hit chlorophyll, in plants, in algae, in photosynthetic organisms, drive photosynthesis, create glucose, store energy, create oxygen, release into atmosphere. You breathe that oxygen, created by photosynthesis, powered by sunlight, enabled by tunneling. You eat food, plants or animals that ate plants, energy stored in chemical bonds, traced back to sunlight, to photosynthesis, to fusion, to tunneling. Every calorie, every joule, every ATP molecule, ultimately from proton tunneling in sun, 150 million kilometers away. 8 minutes ago. This is not abstract, not distant, not irrelevant. This is immediate, personal, life-sustaining. You are made of atoms. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus. These atoms created in stars, created by fusion, enabled by tunneling. Your atoms tunneled into existence through Coulomb barriers, in stellar cores, billions of years ago. Then stars exploded, supernovae, scattered atoms, through space, through galaxies. Atoms condensed, formed planets, formed Earth, formed you. Every atom in your body, every carbon in your DNA, every oxygen in your blood, every calcium in your bones, created by tunneling. In long-dead stars, you are stardust. But more precisely, you are quantum tunneling made manifest. You are particles that pass through barriers. That did impossible. That violated classical physics billions of years ago, and continue doing so. In your body, right now, this moment, as you read, particles in your cells, in your molecules, in your atoms, tunneling, passing through barriers, enabling life, enabling metabolism, enabling existence. This is next. This is deeper. This is where tunneling becomes biology, becomes chemistry, becomes life itself. Particles pass through walls, and you're only alive because of this. Not just because sun shines, but because your cells function, because your DNA mutates, because your enzymes catalyze, all through quantum tunneling, all through particles doing impossible, all through quantum mechanics operating at every level, in every cell, in every molecule, in every chemical reaction, making life quantum, making biology strange, making you impossible and actual and alive. The sun should not exist, not as it exists, not shining for billions of years, not producing steady energy, not sustaining life. Classical physics proves this. Thermodynamics proves this. Energy calculations prove this. Sun is burning hydrogen, converting hydrogen to helium through nuclear fusion. This much is known, this much is confirmed, this much is measured. But the problem, the impossible problem, the devastating problem, is that fusion cannot occur, not at Sun's core temperature, not at 15 million Kelvin, not with thermal energies of 1.5 keV, cannot overcome Coulomb barrier, cannot bring protons close enough, cannot enable strong nuclear force. Barrier is 1440 keV. Thermal energy is 1.5 keV, factor of 1000 too low. This is not close, not almost enough, not nearly sufficient. This is impossibly insufficient, hopelessly inadequate, absurdly far from required energy. Classical physics says no fusion, no energy, no sustained sunshine. Sun should collapse, should contract, should heat briefly from gravitational energy, Kelvin-Helmholtz contraction, then cool. Forever. Sun should be dead, Earth should be frozen, life should be impossible, yet sun shines, has shone for 4.6 billion years, will shine for 5 billion more. Steady, reliable, powerful, 400 trillion watts every second for billions of years. This is impossible, classically impossible, thermodynamically impossible, energetically impossible, yet actual, yet real, yet measured. The resolution, the only resolution, the necessary resolution, is quantum tunneling. Protons do not overcome barrier, do not climb potential hill, do not accumulate enough energy. They tunnel through barrier, through Coulomb repulsion, through classically forbidden region, appearing at nuclear distances, where strong force acts, where fusion occurs, where energy releases. This is only explanation. This is only mechanism. This is only reason sun exists. Quantum tunneling. Not occasional, not rare, not exotic, but fundamental, necessary, continuous. 400 trillion watts every second from quantum tunneling, from protons doing impossible, from particles passing through barriers. This is sun. This is stellar physics. This is reason you exist. And the mathematics are beautiful. The physics are precise. The implications are profound. Sun should not shine, but quantum mechanics makes it shine, makes stars shine, makes universe bright, makes life possible, through tunneling, through impossibility made actual, through quantum mechanics operating at cosmic scale. This is not abstract theory, not distant irrelevance. This is immediate. This is personal. This is why you breathe, why you eat, why you exist. Every photon from sun, every quantum of light, every bit of energy required proton tunneling, required quantum barrier penetration, required impossible made actual. And we can calculate this, can measure this, can understand this, precisely, beautifully, impossibly. Start with Coulomb barrier in detail. 2 protons approaching, both positively charged. Charge E equals 1.6 times 10 negative 19 coulombs. Electromagnetic force, F equals K squared divided by R squared, where K equals 9 times 10, 9m squared divided by C squared. At large distances, force is weak, barely noticeable. As protons approach, force increases, inversely proportional to square of distance, gets stronger rapidly. At R equals 1 nanometer, F to 2 times 10, negative 10 newtons. Small force. At R equals 1 angstrom equals 0.1 nanometers, F to 2 times 10, negative 8 newtons. Larger. At R equals 1 femtometer equals 10, negative 15 meters equals nuclear distance, F to 230 newtons. Enormous. For particles this small, this is repulsive force, pushing protons apart, preventing approach, preventing contact. To overcome this force, must do work, must expend energy, potential energy. V, Re, equals chi E squared divided by R. This is Coulomb potential. At R equals 1 firm, V equals 9 times 10, 9 6 times 10, negative 19 squared, divided by 10, negative 15, equals 2.3 times 10, negative 13 joules, equals 1.4, 4 MeV. This is barrier height. Energy required to bring protons to nuclear distance, to R equals 1,4, where strong nuclear force can act. Strong force attractive, but very short range. Only acts at R is less than 2 FM. At larger distances, irrelevant, negligible, non-existent. To fuse, must reach this distance, must overcome Coulomb barrier, must have energy is greater than or equal to 1.44 MeV. This is classical requirement. This is thermodynamic necessity. This is energetic imperative. Now consider Sun's core. Temperature T equals 1.5 times 10, 7 K. Boltzmann constant K, B equals 1.38 times 10, negative 23 J divided by K. Thermal energy per particle, E equals 3/2, BT equals 3.1 times 10, negative 16 joules equals 1.9 keV. This is average kinetic energy, average thermal motion. Not maximum, not minimum, average. Distribution is Maxwell-Boltzmann. Some particles faster, some slower, but average is 1.9 keV. Compare to barrier, 1,440 keV. Ratio, 1,440 over 1. 9 is approximately equal to 760. Barrier is 760 times higher than average thermal energy. This is enormous discrepancy. This is impossible gap. Even high energy tail of distribution particles much faster than average cannot reach barrier energy. Probability of particle having E is greater than or equal to 1,440 keV at T equals 1.5 times 10, 7 K, P. Exp. E divided by K, BT equals exp negative 1,440 kV divided by 1.9 kV equals exp negative 760 is approximately equal to 10 negative 330. This is vanishingly small, impossibly small, unimaginably small, never happens, not once, not ever, not in Age of Universe, not in Google Ages of Universe. Classical physics, no fusion, never. No matter how long you wait, no matter how many protons exist, probability is too small, barrier is too high, temperature is too low, fusion is impossible. Sun should not shine. But sun does shine, does fuse, does produce energy. This was mystery, deep mystery, existential mystery. In 1920, Arthur Eddington proposed that sun is powered by fusion, by converting hydrogen to helium, by nuclear energy. E equals mc squared, Einstein's equation. Small amount of mass converts to enormous energy. Hydrogen mass, 1.008 AMU. Helium mass, 4.003 AMU. 4 hydrogens, 4.032 AMU. Difference, 0.029 AMU equals mass defect. This mass converts to energy. 0.029 AMU times c squared equals 27 MeV, released per helium created. Enormous energy from tiny mass. If sun fuses hydrogen to helium, releases enough energy to shine for billions of years. Eddington calculated this. Showed sun has enough hydrogen, enough time, enough potential to shine for 10 billion years. Matches observations, matches geology, matches age of Earth. Perfect, except one problem. Enormous problem. Impossible problem. How does fusion occur? How do protons overcome Coulomb barrier? Eddington could not answer, could not explain mechanism, could only say, somehow it happens. Some subatomic energy enables fusion, some unknown process, some mysterious mechanism, but could not specify, could not calculate, could not prove. This was unsatisfying. This was incomplete. This was mystery. Then quantum mechanics developed. Heisenberg, Schrödinger, Born, Dirac, 1925 to 1928. Wave functions, uncertainty principle, probability, superposition, and tunneling. Gamo's explanation of alpha decay, 1928. Particles can tunnel through barriers, can penetrate classically forbidden regions, can appear beyond obstacles, without having energy, without classical permission, just quantum probability, just wave function, just tunneling. Robert Atkinson and Fritz Houtemann saw this, saw connection, saw application. 1929. Published paper. How can one decide experimentally whether the stars get their energy from atoms? Applied Gamo's tunneling to stellar fusion. Showed protons can tunnel through Coulomb barrier, calculated tunneling probability, showed fusion is possible. At stellar temperatures, through quantum mechanics, through tunneling. This was breakthrough. This was solution. This was answer to Eddington's mystery. Fusion occurs through quantum tunneling. Protons tunnel through Coulomb barrier, reach nuclear distances, fuse, release energy, power stars, power sun, make universe bright. The calculation is beautiful. Tunneling probability through Coulomb barrier. George Gamow derived factor. Gamow factor. Exponential suppression. T. Explain negative 2 pi. Z1, Z2. Alpha. V. Where Z1, Z2 are atomic numbers, both 1 for protons. Alpha is fine. Structure constant is approximately equal to 1 over 137. V is velocity relative to speed of light. For protons with thermal energy, 1.9 keV, Vc is approximately equal to 0.002. Gamow factor, xp negative 2 pi 11 over 137 divided by 0.002 equals xp negative 34.4 is approximately equal to 10, negative 15. This is tunneling probability. Per collision. 1 in quadrillion collisions results in tunneling. Sounds small, is small, individually. But Sun's core has enormous number of protons, enormous number of collisions. N to 10, 56 protons in core, each moving, each colliding. Collision rate, billions per second per proton. Total collision rate to 10, 65 per second. Even with tunneling probability 10, negative 15, number of tunneling events 10, 65 times 10, negative 15 equals 10, 50 per second. Enormous number. Each fusion releases to 27 MeV. Total energy 10, 50 times 27 MeV is approximately equal to 4 times 10, 26 watts. This is sun's luminosity. This is observed power. This is measured output. Theory matches observation. Calculation matches reality. Quantum tunneling explains solar energy, explains stellar power, explains why sun shines despite impossible barrier. This is triumph. This is vindication. This is quantum mechanics proven at cosmic scale. But calculation is more subtle, more beautiful, more precise. Not just exponential factor, but energy dependence, Gamow peak, convolution of two factors. First factor, Boltzmann distribution. Probability of having energy E at temperature T, P, B, E, 1/2 exp E, K, B, T, increases with energy initially, more phase space, then decreases exponentially, fewer high-energy particles. Second factor, tunneling probability, increases exponentially with energy, P, T, E, exp E, G, 1/2, where E, G is Gamow energy, P, Z1, Z2, alpham squared. For protons, Eg is approximately equal to 500 keV. Tunneling probability increases with energy. Higher energy, easier to tunnel, less barrier to penetrate. Total fusion rate, product of both factors, R, E, 1/2, exp E, K, B, T, x, E, 1/2. First, exponential decreases with E. Second, exponential increases with E. Product peaks. At optimal energy, Gamow peak. Energy where fusion is most probable, where most fusion occurs. Calculated by maximizing Re. Take derivative. Set to 0. Get E0 equals K BTE G divided by 2, 2/3. For sun's core, T equals 1.5 times 10, 7K, E, G equals 500 kV. Gamow peak, E0 is approximately equal to 5 kV. This is optimal energy, energy where most fusion occurs. Not average thermal energy, 1.9 kV, not barrier energy, 1440 kV, but intermediate, compromise, balance between availability and tunneling. Particles at 5 keV are relatively common, not rare high-energy tail, and tunneling probability is reasonable, not vanishingly small. Most fusion occurs here, at Gamow peak, at 5 keV. Through quantum tunneling, this is elegant, this is beautiful, this is physics at its best, precise, predictive, explanatory. Hans Bethe worked out details in 1939. Nobel Prize, 1967. Two fusion chains power Sun. PP chain dominates. Proton-proton chain. Step 1. P plus PD plus E minus plus nu. E. Two protons fuse, create deuterium, plus positron, plus electron neutrino. This step is slowest. Rate limiting. Requires weak nuclear force. Converts proton to neutron through W boson exchange. Extremely rare. Tunneling probability to 10, negative 15. Weak interaction probability to 10, negative 23. Combined to 10, negative 38. Per collision. Incredibly rare. Each proton in Sun's core waits to 10 billion years before fusing. Average. This is why Sun burns slowly, why Sun lasts billions of years. If fusion were fast, Sun would explode, consume fuel rapidly, die quickly. But fusion is slow, controlled, stable, because tunneling is improbable, because weak interaction is rare. Sun burns gently, steadily, for 10 billion years. Step 2. D plus P, Q Heb plus gamma. Deuterium created in step 1 quickly fuses with another proton, creates helium. 3. Plus gamma ray. This step is fast. Strong nuclear force. Once deuterium exists, rapidly consumed. Tunneling still required, but only once. Deuterium unstable to fusion. Step 3. Cube He plus cube He, quart He plus 2P. 2 helium, 3 nuclei fuse, create helium. 4 plus 2 protons, recycles protons. Net reaction 4P, quart He plus 2 E mice plus 2 NIU, E plus 2 gamma. 4 protons become 1 helium, plus 2 positrons, annihilate with electrons, release more energy. Plus 2 neutrinos, escape sun, carry away small energy. Plus gamma rays, thermalize, eventually become sunlight. Energy released, 26.7 MeV, from mass defect, from E equals me squared. This is PP chain. This is how sun fuses hydrogen, through quantum tunneling, through weak interaction, through nuclear physics, slowly, steadily, reliably, for billions of years. Heavier stars use CNO cycle, carbon nitrogen oxygen cycle, catalytic cycle. Carbon acts as catalyst, not consumed, just enables fusion. Step 1. 1 squared C plus P, 1 C plus gamma. Carbon captures proton, through tunneling, creates nitrogen, 1,3, plus gamma. Step 2. 1 N, 1 QB C, plus E, mice, plus Ni, E, nitrogen, 1,3, beta decays. Half-life 10 minutes, creates carbon 1,3, plus positron, plus neutrino. Step 3. 1 cubic C plus P 1 quart N plus gamma. Carbon 1,3 captures proton, through tunneling, creates nitrogen, 1,4, plus gamma. Step 4. 1 quart N plus P 150 plus gamma. Nitrogen 1,4 captures proton, through tunneling, creates oxygen 1,5 plus gamma. Step 5. Gung Ving Co, comma N plus E mice plus nu, E oxygen, 1,5 beta decays, half-life 2 minutes, creates nitrogen, 1,5, plus positron, plus neutrino. Step 6. Verse 6. Nen plus P, verse 6, quart minus quar, head, nitrogen, 1,5, captures proton, through tunneling, splits, creates carbon, 1,2, plus helium, 4, carbon returns, cycle completes. Can repeat. Net reaction same as PP chain, 4P quarter He plus 2 E mice plus 2 NIU, E plus gamma, same energy release, same helium production, but different mechanism, different pathway. Requires carbon, requires heavier elements, present in heavier stars, more massive stars. Hotter cores. CNO cycle dominates above to 1.5 solar masses, above to 18 million K core temperature, because CNO has higher Coulomb barriers, requires higher energies, higher tunneling rates, but produces more energy, faster fusion, hotter stars, shorter lifetimes. Massive stars burn fast, live millions of years, not billions. Small stars burn slow, live trillions of years. Sun is intermediate, burns steadily, lives 10 billion years. Perfect for life, perfect for planets, perfect for evolution, all through quantum tunneling, through impossible made actual, through protons passing through Coulomb barriers, billions of times per second, creating helium, releasing energy, powering sunshine, enabling life. Every photon from sun required tunneling. Required proton tunneling through Coulomb barrier, in sun's core, 150 million kilometers away. Protons tunnel, fuse, release gamma rays, high-energy photons, millions of electron volts. These gamma rays scatter, collide with particles, ionized plasma, electrons, protons, ions, Compton scattering, pair production, absorption and re-emission. Each scattering reduces energy, increases wavelength, moves toward thermal equilibrium. Gamma ray becomes X-ray, X-ray becomes UV, UV becomes visible, visible becomes infrared. Process takes long time. Photon created in core, scatters millions of times, random walk through sun, eventually reaches surface, escapes, radiates into space. Total time to 100,000 years from core to surface, from creation to escape. Photon travels at speed of light, but path is tortuous, zigzagging, random, effectively much slower, average. Finally escapes, as visible light, as sunlight, as photons we see. Each photon, 100,000 years old, created when humans did not exist, created when Ice Age was beginning, now arriving, reaching Earth, 8 more minutes, speed of light in vacuum, straight path, no scattering, just propagation, then hits Earth, hits atmosphere, hits surface, hits plants, hits chlorophyll, drives photosynthesis. This is critical, this is life-enabling. This is why quantum tunneling matters personally. Chlorophyll absorbs photons. Visible light, red and blue, reflects green. This is why plants are green. Absorbed photons excite electrons, create excitons. Energy transferred to reaction center, drives chemical reactions, split water, H2O2H mice, plus O2 plus 4E meno. Oxygen released, electrons used, protons pumped, create gradient. Drive ATP synthesis, energy storage, carbon dioxide fixed, CO2 plus energy glucose, C6H12O6, sugar, food, energy stored in chemical bonds. This is photosynthesis. This is how plants grow, how plants produce oxygen, how plants create food, all powered by sunlight, all enabled by fusion, all requiring quantum tunneling. Every leaf, every tree, every blade of grass, every crop, every garden, every forest, powered by protons, tunneling in sun, 150 million kilometers away, billions of years continuously, creating photons, enabling life, making Earth green. You breathe oxygen, created by photosynthesis, powered by sunlight, enabled by tunneling. You eat food, plants or animals that ate plants, energy stored in glucose, in carbohydrates, in fats, in proteins, all traced to photosynthesis, to sunlight, to fusion, to tunneling, every calorie, every joule, every erg, ultimately from proton tunneling, in sun's core. This moment, right now, sun is fusing, tunneling, producing energy, producing photons, that will arrive in 100,000 years, plus 8 minutes. You are eating food. From photosynthesis, from photons that arrived, from tunneling that occurred 100,000 years ago, plus 8 minutes. You are connected, directly, physically, energetically, to quantum tunneling, to sun, to stars. Every breath connects you, every meal connects you, every heartbeat connects you to quantum mechanics, operating at cosmic scale, at stellar distances, at nuclear energies, making sunshine, making life possible, making you exist. This is not metaphor, not poetry, not symbolic. This is physics. This is reality. This is direct causal chain. Proton tunnels, fusion occurs, energy releases, gamma rays, created photons, scatter, visible light emerges, photosynthesis happens, oxygen produced, food created, you breathe, you eat, you live. Each step necessary, each step physical, each step traceable, from quantum tunneling to your existence. This is profound. This is beautiful. This is humbling. You are made possible by particles doing impossible, by protons passing through barriers, by quantum mechanics violating classical physics, constantly, reliably, necessarily, for 4.6 billion years, for billions more years. As long as sun shines, as long as tunneling occurs, as long as quantum mechanics operates, you are alive, you exist, you think, all because particles can do impossible, can tunnel, can fuse, can power sun. But sun is not only place tunneling matters, not only star, not only fusion. Tunneling occurs everywhere, in technology, in nature, in chemistry, in biology, in your body, right now. This moment, as you read, particles in your cells, in your molecules, in your DNA, tunneling, passing through barriers, enabling reactions, enabling processes, enabling life. This is next. This is deeper. This is where tunneling becomes personal, becomes cellular, becomes molecular, becomes chemical, becomes biological, not distant, not stellar, not cosmic, but immediate, internal, intimate. In every cell, in every organelle, in every enzyme, in every DNA molecule, particles tunneling, constantly, necessarily, enabling metabolism, enabling respiration, enabling replication, enabling mutation, enabling evolution, enabling you, not just from sun, not just from external energy, but from internal processes, internal quantum mechanics, internal tunneling, in mitochondria, in enzymes, in nucleotides, particles doing impossible, making chemistry, quantum, making biology, strange, making life dependent on tunneling, not just photosynthesis, not just solar energy, but cellular respiration, enzyme catalysis, DNA replication, genetic mutation, all involving tunneling, all requiring quantum mechanics, all demonstrating that you are quantum being, not just beneficiary of stellar tunneling, but site of cellular tunneling, location of molecular tunneling, locus of quantum processes, making impossible actual, making barriers penetrable, making life possible through quantum mechanics, through tunneling, through particles passing through walls, in sun, in stars, in cells, in you. This is quantum biology. This is next revelation. This is deeper truth. That life is not just enabled by tunneling. Life is tunneling. Life is quantum. Life is impossible made actual. At every level, at every scale, at every moment, continuously, necessarily, fundamentally. And this is where story continues, where tunneling becomes personal, where quantum mechanics becomes biological, where sun's power becomes cell's power, where stellar fusion connects to cellular respiration, where cosmic impossible connects to molecular impossible, both quantum, both tunneling, both making life possible, both making you exist, from sun to cell, from fusion to metabolism, from star to organism, all connected, all quantum, all tunneling, all impossible, all actual. This is reality, this is physics, this is life, and this is why you are alive, because particles pass through walls, in sun, in cells, in molecules, everywhere, constantly, impossibly. Actually, quantum tunneling is not distant, not stellar, not cosmic only. Quantum tunneling is immediate, cellular, molecular, in your body, in your cells, in your DNA, right now, this moment. As you read, particles are tunneling, electrons tunneling in mitochondria, protons tunneling in enzymes, hydrogen atoms tunneling in DNA, constantly, continuously, necessarily. Your metabolism depends on tunneling. Your respiration requires tunneling. Your genetic code mutates through tunneling. Your evolution proceeds by tunneling. Life is not just enabled by quantum mechanics. Life is quantum mechanics at molecular level, at cellular level, at chemical level. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, every thought, every motion, every sensation, powered by particles passing through barriers, through classically forbidden regions, through impossible distances. Quantum tunneling in biology is not rare, not occasional, not exotic, is fundamental, is universal, is necessary. Without tunneling in DNA, no mutations. Without mutations, no evolution. Without evolution, no complex life, no humans, no you. Without tunneling in enzymes, no catalysis. Without catalysis, no metabolism. Without metabolism, no life. Without tunneling in mitochondria, no ATP. Without ATP, no energy. Without energy, no cellular function. No movement, no thought, no existence. You are alive because particles tunnel. In your cells, through your molecules, across your proteins. This is not metaphor, not approximation, not simplification. This is literal truth, physical reality, quantum necessity. Your body is quantum device. Your cells are quantum systems. Your molecules are quantum objects, operating through tunneling, through superposition, through uncertainty, through wave mechanics, making chemistry quantum, making biology strange, making life impossible and actual. This is where quantum mechanics becomes personal, becomes immediate, becomes you. Not abstract theory, not distant physics, but biological reality, chemical necessity, molecular process, happening now, in every cell, in every organelle, in every enzyme, making you possible, making you alive, making you quantum. Begin with DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, genetic code, blueprint of life, double helix, 2 strands, complementary base pairs, adenine pairs with thymine, guanine pairs with cytosine, AT, GC. Hydrogen bonds connect them, hold strands together, weak bonds, but specific, precise. Recognition depends on hydrogen bonding, on proton positions, on molecular geometry. AT has 2 hydrogen bonds, GC has 3 hydrogen bonds. Different strengths, different stabilities, but both specific, both selective, both ensuring correct pairing, except sometimes wrong, sometimes mutations occur. Base pairs mismatch, A pairs with C, G pairs with T. Wrong, incorrect, should not happen. But does happen, rarely. 1 in billion base pairs, 1 in trillion replications, but happens. Causes mutations, changes genetic code, enables evolution, enables diversity, enables adaptation. Where do mutations come from? Many sources. Radiation, chemicals, copying errors, spontaneous changes. But one source is quantum, is tunneling, is proton tunneling in base pairs. Hydrogen atoms in hydrogen bonds can tunnel, can change position, can move from one base to other, changing tautomeric form, changing bonding pattern, changing pairing specificity. Normally adenine is amino form, pairs with thymine, but if proton tunnels, adenine becomes amino form, pairs with cytosine. Wrong pairing, mutation. Similarly, guanine normally keto form, pairs with cytosine, but if proton tunnels, guanine becomes enol form, pairs with thymine. Wrong pairing, mutation. These are tautomeric shifts. Chemical isomers, same atoms, different arrangements, different bonding, different properties. Classical chemistry, tautomers are in equilibrium, small population in wrong form, most molecules in correct form. Equilibrium favors stable tautomer, but quantum mechanics, protons can tunnel, can shift between tautomers, without thermal activation, without energy barrier crossing, just tunneling, through barrier, instantaneously, quantum mechanically. Probability is small, but non-zero, calculated by Per Olof Lodin in 1963, pioneer in quantum biology, applied quantum mechanics to DNA, showed proton tunneling can cause tautomeric shifts, can create mispairing, can generate mutations. Tunneling probability to 10, -4 per base pair per replication. Small, but sufficient. Given billions of base pairs, given trillions of cells, given constant replication. Mutations occur, some from tunneling, some quantum, some impossible, yet actual. This has profound implications. Evolution depends on mutations, on genetic variation, on changes in DNA sequence. Without variation, no selection. Without selection, no adaptation. Without adaptation, no evolution. Darwin knew this, needed variation, needed heritable changes, did not know source, did not know mechanism. Mendel provided genetics. Genes pass traits. But mutations create new traits, create new genes, create new possibilities. Where do mutations come from? Quantum tunneling is one source, one mechanism, one way DNA changes. Not only way, not dominant way, but real way, physical way, quantum way. Protons tunnel, bases mispair, polymerase incorporates wrong base, mutation fixed, passed to offspring, becomes genetic variation, becomes substrate for evolution. Some mutations harmful, deleted by selection. Some mutations neutral, persist by drift. Some mutations beneficial, amplified by selection. This is evolution. This is adaptation. This is how life diversifies, how species originate, how complexity increases, and quantum tunneling contributes, provides variation, provides mutations, provides raw material for evolution, for selection, for life's diversity. You exist because mutations occurred. In ancestral DNA, in ancient organisms, in evolutionary history, some mutations from tunneling, from quantum mechanics, from protons doing impossible, changing bases, creating variants, enabling evolution, leading eventually, through billions of years, through countless generations, through selection and drift and speciation. To you, your genome contains mutations. From your ancestors, from random events, some quantum, some tunneling, some impossible. Your children will have mutations, new ones, de novo, some from tunneling, from quantum processes. In your cells, in your gametes, right now, tunneling is occurring. In your DNA, creating possibilities. For future, for evolution, for life continuing. This is not abstract, not theoretical, not distant. This is immediate, biological, evolutionary. You are product of quantum mechanics and source of quantum variation for future generations. But too much tunneling is dangerous. Mutations can cause cancer, can disrupt genes, can break cellular machinery. Cells have repair mechanisms, DNA repair enzymes, proofreading systems, error correction, reducing mutation rate, preventing damage, maintaining stability. Balance is critical. Too few mutations, no evolution, no adaptation, species die. Too many mutations, cancer, disease, organism dies. Goldilocks rate, just right, not too fast, not too slow. Quantum tunneling contributes to this rate, contributes to mutation frequency, cannot be eliminated, cannot be prevented, is fundamental process, quantum mechanical, but evolution has adjusted, has optimized, has created repair systems to maintain appropriate rate, appropriate balance between stability and variation, between conservation and change, between survival and evolution. This is exquisite, this is elegant, this is life-managing quantum mechanics. Using tunneling for evolution, controlling tunneling for stability, balancing impossible with necessary, making quantum process serve biological function. This is quantum biology. This is life as quantum system, sophisticated, adaptive, evolved, managing quantum effects, harnessing quantum possibilities, creating life from quantum mechanics. Now consider enzymes. Protein catalysts speed up reactions by factors of million, of billion, of trillion. Some enzymes accelerate reactions by 10, 17 orders of magnitude, 1,000 trillion times faster. with enzyme than without. How? Classical explanation. Transition state stabilization. Enzyme binds substrate, reduces activation energy, stabilizes transition state, lowers barrier, reaction proceeds faster. This is textbook explanation. This is standard mechanism. And it is partially true, partially correct, partially explanatory, but incomplete, because experiments show something strange, something quantum, something impossible classically. Kinetic isotope effects. Key. Measure reaction rate with hydrogen, then measure with deuterium. Heavy hydrogen, twice the mass, should affect rate, classically, through 0-point energy, through vibrational frequency. Expect Ka to 2 to 7. Factor of 2 to 7, observed in most reactions. Classical prediction, classical mechanism. But some enzymes show larger, Ki, much larger, Ki to 50, Ki to 80, Ki to 100, factor of 100. This is impossible classically, cannot explain by transition state, cannot explain by activation energy, cannot explain by classical mechanics. Only quantum tunneling explains this. Only barrier penetration, only wave function extension. Hydrogen has smaller mass, higher 0-point energy, more quantum, more wave-like, more extended, more penetrating, tunnels more easily. Deuterium has larger mass, lower 0-point energy, less quantum, less wave-like, less extended, less penetrating, tunnels less easily. Mass dependence of tunneling is exponential, not linear, not classical, quantum mechanical, creates large KIE, large mass effect, large isotope effect, proof of tunneling, proof of quantum, proof of impossible. Judith Klinman discovered this. Berkeley biochemist, studied enzyme mechanisms, measured isotope effects, found enormous KIEs in soybean lipoxygenase, in alcohol dehydrogenase, in other enzymes. Could not explain classically, proposed quantum tunneling, hydrogen atoms tunnel through enzymatic barriers, across active sites, without classical activation, just quantum penetration, just wave function, just tunneling. This was controversial. 1980s, 1990s. Many doubted, many rejected. Enzymes are warm, wet, noisy. Decoherence should destroy quantum effects, should eliminate tunneling, should force classical behavior. But experiments confirmed, repeated, extended, other labs, other enzymes, other systems. Tunneling is real, in enzymes, in biological catalysis, in metabolism. Not rare, not occasional, not exotic, fundamental. Many enzymes use tunneling. Many reactions require tunneling. Many processes depend on quantum mechanics. Your metabolism, your digestion, your respiration, your synthesis, all involve enzymes. Many use tunneling, many accelerated by quantum effects. Many impossible without quantum mechanics. You are alive because enzymes tunnel, because hydrogen atoms pass through barriers, because protons do impossible in every cell, in every reaction, in every metabolic pathway, constantly, continuously, necessarily, making biochemistry quantum, making metabolism strange, making life dependent on tunneling. Specific example, alcohol dehydrogenase, ADH, metabolizes ethanol, converts alcohol to acetaldehyde, in liver, detoxifying, protecting, enzyme mechanism, removes hydrogen from ethanol, transfers to NAD+, creates acetaldehyde, creates NADH. This is oxidation, this is dehydrogenation, this is catalysis. But hydrogen transfer is quantum, is tunneling. Proton and electron tunnel together as hydride ion, H, through enzyme active site, from ethanol to NAD+, distance to 0.3 nanometers, too far for classical transfer. But quantum tunneling bridges gap, makes transfer possible, makes reaction fast. Key measurements confirm, deuterium slows reaction, factor of 30 to 50, proves tunneling, proves quantum, proves impossible made actual. You drink alcohol, enzyme metabolizes, through tunneling, through quantum mechanics, protecting you, detoxifying you, using quantum effects. This is immediate. This is personal. This is you, as quantum system, or methylamine dehydrogenase, MADH, bacterial enzyme, oxidizes methylamine, transfers hydrogen to cofactor, tunneling distance to 0, 7 nanometers. Very long for tunneling, should be impossible. But enzyme brings reactants close, optimizes geometry, enhances tunneling, makes probable what should be improbable, makes actual what should be impossible, through protein dynamics, through conformational changes, through active site architecture. Enzyme evolves to enhance tunneling, to optimize quantum transfer, to make quantum mechanics efficient. This is sophisticated. This is elegant. This is evolution using quantum mechanics, designing proteins to exploit tunneling, to harness quantum effects, to make catalysis quantum. Life is not passive recipient of quantum mechanics. Life is active user, active optimizer, active exploiter. Evolution has discovered tunneling, has optimized tunneling, has made tunneling central to metabolism, to catalysis, to biochemistry. You are product of billions of years, of evolutionary optimization, of quantum enhancement. Your enzymes are quantum devices, designed by evolution, optimized by selection, functioning through tunneling, making you quantum being, at molecular level, at chemical level, at metabolic level. Now, cellular respiration, how cells make ATP, adenosine triphosphate, energy currency, universal energy molecule, used everywhere, in muscles, in nerves, in synthesis, in transport, in movement, in thought. Every cellular process requires ATP. Every function consumes ATP. You make your body weight in ATP every day. Hundreds of grams, synthesized, consumed, recycled. Constantly, continuously, endlessly. How? Mitochondria, cellular power plants, double membrane, inner membrane folded, cristae, electron transport chain embedded, 4 protein complexes, plus ATP synthase. Electrons enter from food, from NADH, from FADH2. Electrons pass through complexes, complex I, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4, finally to oxygen, creating water, energy released. Each step, protons pumped, from matrix to intermembrane space, creating gradient. Electrochemical gradient, proton motive force. Protons flow back through ATP synthase. Drives rotation, drives synthesis. ADP plus P, I, ATP, energy stored in phosphate bond, ready for use. This is oxidative phosphorylation. This is respiration. This is how you make energy. But critical step is electron transfer between complexes, between proteins. Distance is too large. Proteins are separate, not touching. Gap of nanometers. Classical physics, electrons cannot jump, cannot cross gap. No physical connection, no direct contact, cannot flow. But quantum mechanics, electrons tunnel, wave function extends, bridges gap. Electron appears in next complex, without traveling through space, just tunneling. Quantum mechanically, probabilistically, this is how electron transport works. This is how respiration proceeds. This is how ATP is made, through quantum tunneling, through electrons doing impossible. Rudolf Marcus won Nobel Prize 1992 for electron transfer theory, showed how electrons transfer between molecules, through barriers, through distances, through quantum tunneling, applied to chemistry, to biology, to respiration. Marcus equation describes rate. Depends on barrier, depends on distance, depends on driving force. Exponential dependence on distance. D increases, rate decreases exponentially. Typical proteins, D to 1 to 2 nanometers. Tunneling probability to 10, -3 to 10, -6. Small but sufficient. Given fast molecular motions, given optimal geometries, given evolutionary optimization, respiration works. Electrons flow, ATP synthesizes. You live. Every breath you take, oxygen you inhale, goes to mitochondria, becomes electron acceptor, final step in chain. Electrons tunnel from complex 4 to oxygen, creating water, completing cycle, enabling more electron flow, more proton pumping, more ATP synthesis, more energy, more life. Without tunneling, no electron transfer. Without electron transfer, no gradient. Without gradient, no ATP. Without ATP, no energy. Without energy, death. Within seconds, you are alive. Right now, this moment, because electrons are tunneling in your mitochondria, in billions of mitochondria, in trillions of cells, creating ATP, powering life, powering you, through quantum mechanics, through impossibility, through particles passing through barriers, every second, every heartbeat, every breath, quantum tunneling, making you alive. Even photosynthesis, not just sun's fusion, but plants' chemistry, light absorbed, chlorophyll excited, exciton created, energy transferred to reaction center, must travel through protein, through light harvesting complex, distance, few nanometers, many chromophores, many molecules, energy must visit, must transfer, efficiently. Classical physics, energy would be lost, scattered, dissipated, thermalized, efficiency would be low, 30% maybe, but measurements show efficiency is to 95%, nearly perfect. Energy reaches reaction center, almost without loss. How? Quantum coherence, quantum superposition, wave-particle duality. Energy is not localized, not on single chromophore, but delocalized. Across multiple chromophores, superposition state, quantum mechanical, can sample multiple paths, multiple routes, simultaneously, finds optimal path, transfers efficiently, without loss. This was discovered 2007 by Graham Fleming. Berkeley chemist, used ultra-fast spectroscopy, femtosecond lasers, measured quantum beats, oscillations, signatures of coherence, of superposition, of quantum mechanics, in photosynthesis, in living systems, at room temperature, in noisy environment. This shocked field revolutionized understanding, showed biology uses quantum mechanics actively, functionally, efficiently, not just tolerates quantum effects, but exploits quantum effects, harnesses quantum mechanics for efficiency, for function, for life, and tunneling contributes. Energy transfer involves tunneling, electronic tunneling, excitonic tunneling, wave function overlap between chromophores, enabling transfer, enabling efficiency, enabling photosynthesis. Every plant, every tree, every algae, every photosynthetic organism uses quantum mechanics, uses coherence, uses tunneling to capture sunlight, to store energy, to produce oxygen, to create food. You eat plants, food from photosynthesis, enabled by quantum mechanics. You breathe oxygen from photosynthesis, enabled by quantum tunneling. You are connected to quantum biology, to quantum chemistry, to quantum life, at every level, at every breath, at every meal. There is even quantum smell, controversial but intriguing. Luca Turin proposed 1996. Vibration theory of olfaction. Traditional theory, shape recognition. Odorant molecules fit receptors, like lock and key. Shape determines smell. This explains some data, but not all. Similar shapes smell different. Different shapes smell similar. Isotopes smell different. Deuterated molecules. Same shape, different mass, different vibration, different smell. This is strange. Classical shape theory cannot explain, but quantum tunneling can explain. Turing proposed. Olfactory receptors detect vibrations. Through inelastic electron tunneling, electron tunnels from donor to acceptor, across odorant molecule. If molecular vibration matches electron energy, assists tunneling, increases probability, creates signal, different vibrations, different signals, different smells. This explains isotope effects, explains why deuterated molecules smell different. Heavier atoms, lower frequencies, different vibrations, different tunneling, different smells. Evidence accumulates. Fruit flies distinguish isotopes. Humans distinguish isotopes. Correlations found between vibration and smell, not perfect, but suggestive. Theory remains controversial, not universally accepted, but compelling, possible, quantum mechanical. If true, your sense of smell is quantum sense, is tunneling detector, is quantum device, detecting molecular vibrations through electron tunneling, through quantum mechanics. Every smell, every scent, every odor, mediated by tunneling, by quantum effects, by impossible made actual. This is not proven, not confirmed, but possible, intriguing, revolutionary, making perception quantum, making sensation strange, making you quantum detector. The pattern is clear, the evidence accumulates, the conclusion is unavoidable. Life is quantum, not just sun's fusion, not just stellar energy, but cellular processes, molecular mechanisms, biochemical reactions. All involve quantum mechanics, all use tunneling, all depend on impossibility. DNA mutates through tunneling, enzymes catalyze through tunneling, respiration energizes through tunneling, photosynthesis captures through tunneling, perhaps smell detects through tunneling. Every level, every process, every function. Quantum, not metaphorically, literally, physically, mechanically. You are quantum being. Your cells are quantum systems. Your molecules are quantum objects, not just at atomic level, not just at nuclear level, but at biological level, at functional level, at living level. Quantum mechanics is not abstract theory, not distant physics, not laboratory curiosity, is biological reality, is chemical necessity, is life's foundation. Without quantum mechanics, no chemistry. Without chemistry, no biochemistry. Without biochemistry, no life. Linear connection, direct causation, unavoidable dependence. You are alive because quantum mechanics permits impossibility, because particles tunnel through barriers, because wave functions extend through obstacles, because electrons and protons and atoms do what classical physics forbids. Every second, every process, every reaction, in every cell, in every organelle, in every enzyme, making life quantum, making biology strange, making you impossible and actual. This changes perspective, changes worldview, changes understanding of what you are, not classical machine, not deterministic computer, not mechanical device, but quantum system, operating through probability, through superposition, through uncertainty, through tunneling, at molecular level. Your thoughts involve quantum processes. Neural firing requires ion channels. Ion channels use quantum effects. Protein conformations are quantum. Electron transfers are quantum. Every thought, every sensation, every perception has quantum component, has quantum foundation, has quantum necessity. Not enough to explain consciousness, not sufficient for qualia, but necessary, essential, foundational. You are not purely classical, cannot be. Physics prevents this. Quantum mechanics operates in your brain, in your neurons, in your synapses, making thought quantum, making mind strange, making consciousness dependent on tunneling, on uncertainty, on quantum mechanics. This is humbling, this is profound, this is recognition that you are not separate from quantum mechanics, are not observer of quantum world, are participant in quantum world, are made of quantum processes, are sustained by quantum effects, are alive through quantum impossibility, particles passing through walls, in sun, in cells, in molecules, in DNA, in enzymes, in mitochondria, in photosystems, maybe in receptors, everywhere, constantly, necessarily, making life possible, making life quantum, making you quantum. This is not future, not speculation, not possibility. This is present, this is reality, this is you, right now, this moment. As you read, particles are tunneling, enabling respiration, creating ATP, powering neurons, generating thoughts, allowing comprehension of this sentence, of this truth, of this impossibility. You understand because particles tunnel. You live because particles pass through walls. You exist because quantum mechanics makes impossible actual. This is final truth. This is deepest reality. This is what you are. Quantum being, impossible being, actual being. Alive through tunneling, through quantum mechanics, through particles doing what they cannot do, yet doing anyway. Constantly, universally, biologically, making chemistry, quantum, making life strange, making you possible, through impossibility, through quantum tunneling, through particles passing through walls. And you're only alive because of this.